Today's show is sponsored by City Theater. If you are a birthday person and you love making that whole week, maybe month, maybe season all about celebrating your big day, then the play Birthday Candles might be perfect for you. City Theater is presenting Birthday Candles by Noah Heidel and directed by Mark Masterson, and you can catch the show on the South Side from March 8th through the 30th. Join Ernestine as she takes us through a century of birthdays. The play is inquisitive, it's hilarious, it's heartwarming, and it asks big questions about our place in the universe and what we might do for the perfect gift. You can find out more and buy your tickets at citytheatercompany.org. City Cast Pittsburgh is supported by Fulton Commons. If you're looking for a gorgeous co-working space with lots of light and some truly wonderfully funky decor, check out Fulton Commons on the north side. The historic but very well renovated old school building is deep in the neighborhood by a park, tucked away but still super close to anywhere you want to be. They've got offices and common spaces. It's perfect for organizations or individuals, and they even have a shared food production kitchen on site. So there's lots of food-related events for their members. If this sounds like your dream co-working space, visit fultonpgh.org to request a tour. Today on City Cast Pittsburgh, our schools are under threat and groups that help local kids need our help. It's not clear how refugees already in our region are going to fare thanks to freezes in federal resettlement money. But a bright spot, there is a new and free thrift store in the north side looking for your best donations. CityCast's Sophia Lowe and Francesca DeBecco are with me to talk about ways you can funnel any frustration right now and help make Pittsburgh a better place. It's Tuesday, March 4th. I'm Megan Harris, and here's what Pittsburgh's talking about. Sophia, Francesca, hello.
Hello.
Good morning. I'm so glad we're doing this again. It feels like the right time.
Yes, I am really happy as well to talk about the local groups in Pittsburgh you can plug in with, volunteer with, because every day I wake up and it feels like there's a new horror.
Ugh, I feel that. Yeah. Yeah.
This is a way to stop the horrors, to be clear. I'm not trying to bring the energy down.
Yes. I have my cardigan on today, so I'm very much channeling Mr. Rogers, feeling like helping my neighbors. So let's get into it.
Definitely. If you are excited about ways to volunteer in your community, or you just need a new organization to make you feel good about the good work that is legitimately happening in the city, everything we're talking about today also lives on our website. That's pittsburgh.citycast.fm. We have been working for a while on trying to highlight new and existing organizations that are really doing the work. So let's jump right in. Francesca, who are you talking about this month?
Yes, I am focused on how refugee resettlements are changing here in Pittsburgh right now. As you guys know, after President Trump suspended grant funding for refugee aid in January, local organizations are really struggling to meet the needs of hundreds of folks who are resettling here. Some are actually already here.
Many are already here.
Yeah. And typically the federal government would provide support for 90 days after their arrival, but that's all gone.
It is, and that's really hurting organizations like Hello Neighbor, the Jewish Family and Community Service, and AJAPO, which stands for Acculturation for Justice, Access, and Peace Outreach. We will be using the acronym going forward. So they all planned to get this funding and relied on it, and like you said, Francesca, now it's not there.
Yeah, the county has been talking a lot about this. County Executive Sarah Innamorato announced just a couple weeks ago that the county's going to try to fill in some of the funding gaps left over from the stop work orders that the federal government has put out. So as of right now, as we're recording, they're saying about a third of the total shortfall will get covered by the county.
Okay.
The whole amount for all three of these organizations is just shy of $700,000. It's a lot of money. So the county's going to cover $2 and change. But, importantly, that doesn't mean that all of these organizations have been made whole already. So like Hello Neighbor, for example, says that the federal government still owes them, like just them, nearly $1 million for work that's already been done.
Already done, yeah.
I knew that, the government owed Hello Neighbor some money. I didn't realize it was almost $1 million.
Yeah, so County Executive Innamorato says that she's working with Mayor Gainey and the foundations to try to cover the rest. But again, that's just the funding that they need to take care of I think the county said 224 people that had arrived in Pittsburgh between December and January. Like they are already here. They need help. And, these stop work orders came in and it's like, oh my gosh, like we don't have anything to help the people that are here, let alone the people who were in the process of coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And because of that loss of funding, Hello Neighbor actually had to reduce or furlough 50% of its team. They're calling on the community for help. They're accepting donations. They had a couple people offer to do match donations. So if you want to help right now, this is like an immediate need. And so we're just like bummed to hear that they had to reduce their capacity on their team. We hope they can bring them back to work soon.
Yeah, and I just want to highlight one thing that I heard County Executive Innamorato say too. She pointed to our population decline here in the city. Like we've been at that 300,000 number for so long, but it chunks down just a little bit every year, every estimate, every census. And, she's talking about like after decades of falling and stagnant population numbers, like welcoming in new people, new residents is a key to our growth and economic vibrancy. Like we are losing money as a community by not helping people come here.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly.
So Francesca, tell us a little more about some of these groups for people who want to know more details. Maybe these are new organizations for them.
Yeah. So Hello Neighbor, they provide mentorship, education, health and wellness resources. They also connect people with housing and they get kids set up in schools. They serve more than 400 refugees per year, according to their website. And you can donate to them or volunteer on an as-needed basis or a long-term basis. So you can do things like welcome families, participate in meal trains, deliver supplies. There's a lot of opportunities there. So whether you have the ability to like commit to this long-term or you can like just provide a little bit of support. That's a great way to do that. And then the JFCS has a similar mission. They actually have a housing registry where you can select items you'd like to donate and they'll deliver them directly to the families. But you can also purchase gift cards from their registry, so that helps families buy essentials anytime. They also look for volunteers to do like home setups, hot meal delivery, and even just be there to like socialize and help people feel welcome, especially the most vulnerable folks who are coming here and don't have a lot of connections. That can really be impactful for them as they're getting settled here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's really thoughtful. And I feel like Pittsburghers are really good at that, just chatting people up and telling them what's cool about the city.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to pivot to immigration for a second because there's an event coming up that's focused on helping folks who have been detained by ICE. This event is organized by Casa San Jose and the Labor Council for Latin American Advancement. They're hosting a de-ICE ball. So that's going to be on March 19th. The proceeds from this event are going to Casa San Jose's bond fund. So that money is used to help folks get out of ICE detention and then fight their legal cases. If you have representation, obviously, that goes a really long way to being able to stay in the U.S. So if you want to show up at the ball, it's going to be 7 to 9 p.m. It's at Temple Sinai in Squirrel Hill. There's going to be live music and food, and there's a sliding scale for tickets. So it goes from $18 to $180. You can even donate more if you want to. And if you can't show up for the ball, if you're already busy that day, there's also the option to donate directly to the bail fund.
Very cool. Thanks for sharing that, Sophia.
Today's show is supported by the Frick Pittsburgh Museum and Gardens and their newest exhibition, Kara Walker, Harper's Pictorial History of the Civil War Annotated. The City Cast crew just checked it out. It's so vivid. There are 15 panels from artist Kara Walker. If you're not familiar with her work, in this series, she places black silhouettes on top of old Harper's Weekly engravings. It's easy to forget now, but back in the day, illustrations like these were the main way a lot of people interpreted celebrated what it meant to be at war. There is a lot of patriotism and not a lot of the many free and enslaved Black men and women who lived and fought and died during this war too. Also, the prints are paired with other Harper's Weekly illustrations, so you truly get a sense of how these stories were being told at the time. And because it's the Frick, a small bonus, they actually had the original bound copies of these Harper's Weekly illustrations. Like they were just in the house, handy, ready to go, and perfect for a show like Kara Walker's. The whole experience is just such a striking and visual reminder of what you often don't see in depictions of things like the Civil War. We highly recommend it. Get your tickets to Kara Walker, Harper's Pictorial History of the Civil War Annotated, now through May 25th. And learn more at thefrickpittsburgh.org. If you're ready for a great night out, the Pittsburgh Symphony Orchestra is shaking things up with a different way to do classical. Their Disrupt concerts are short, they are relaxed, they are often themed, and they have legitimately fun activities to do too. The PSO has 2 remaining Disrupt shows coming up this spring. First, there's Hope and Resistance featuring Prokofiev's Fifth Symphony. That's March 8th. It is a masterpiece and a glimpse into history. Then Love Struck on April 10th, featuring the greatest love story ever told, Ravel's Daphnis and Chloe. You'll get closer to the music as the PSO's onstage host guides you through every thrilling movement of these iconic works. Plus, did I mention that they are short? The performances are only 60 minutes long. But Disrupt is more than a concert, it's a vibe. It's an experience. Grab a craft cocktail and just enjoy the live music in a very chill, come-as-you-are atmosphere. No dress code, no rules, just a perfect evening in Pittsburgh. Shake up your night at pittsburghsymphony.org/disrupt. Tickets start at just $25.
Megan, what about you? What are you focused on this month?
I am going to stay on theme, actually. This was a recommendation we got from a listener reader, friend of the pod, James F. He suggested Arise. So that's the Alliance for Refugee Youth Support and Education. If you're not familiar with them, they work with refugee kids who maybe need extra support, particularly in their new school systems, just because an American public school is very different than what they may have experienced in their country of origin. This organization's about 12 years old now. They are based in East Liberty, but they run all kinds of stuff. Like it started as a summer camp, which I just think is like super cute, right?
I love that.
But they say it now represents over 15 countries of origin and kids who collectively, like combined, speak like 30 plus different languages.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So if you know someone who might benefit from this, they say they work with kids in grades 6 through 12. They must reside in Allegheny County. They now do after school programs. They still do the summer camp. It's 5 weeks long.
Nice.
They have a club after school. There's actually a bunch of clubs. Some of them I thought were really cute. Like there's an art-based girl group. There's a safe space for LGBTQ youth. They do one-day workshops, for example, and they also encourage the kids themselves to become mentors and leaders for the younger ones. So like when you get a little bit older, they have a student steering committee, for example, that helps like dictate what Arise is going to be. And the kids, if they serve on the committee, they get compensated for their time. Like it is a job.
That's so cool.
That's awesome. And I'm really glad they're taking like feedback from the kids to make the program better.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, adults don't always know what kids want to be doing. Like everything changes every few years in terms of what's interesting to them and like what they want their programming to look like.
Totally. And actually, they are currently hiring for that summer camp. It runs through July, part of August. They need a co-director and some camp counselors. So you'd be doing a bunch of things like introducing the kids to Pittsburgh and like, hopefully deepening their sense of belonging here. That's very like central to what we try to do here at City Cast Pittsburgh. So I love it. But you'd also be helping them with English literacy skills and, like using art to work through big feelings, things like that. The deadline to apply for these is March 21st. You can sign up through their application form. We'll put it in the show notes.
I love this.
That's awesome. I wish my summer camp that I worked at was more like this. I would love introducing people to Pittsburgh. My favorite part of working at summer camp was taking kids on field trips.
Yeah, this is really great going into the spring and summer. Megan, you also have another education-related topic.
Yes, one more education plug. If you listen to the show very often, you've heard us mention them briefly before, the advocacy group A+ Schools. So they keep an eye trained on Pittsburgh Public, like always. They do a big report every year. They point out successes, opportunities for things to maybe improve. I mean, these people stay fundraising, but they say they're also really excited right now to talk to people about what it is they do, which I think is kind of interesting. So you could like invite A+ schools to come talk to your book club, your neighborhood party, your PTA, whatever. They're especially focused on chronic absenteeism, which if you listen, you heard us talking to Superintendent Wayne Walters recently about this. It's when you miss 10% or more of your school time throughout the course of the year, which can add up like really quickly if you're not paying attention.
Totally. And, these are still excused absences. This is different from truancy when, kids aren't showing up at all.
Yeah, no one's skipping school here.
Yeah.
Like they're following the process.
Mm-hmm. So even though this is like done, quote unquote, like the right way, obviously this still hurts a lot of kids. Like missing 1 or 2 days of school doesn't feel like a lot, but if it's happening every single month, especially like, with holidays and stuff, you end up missing a ton of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they also have a transportation initiative underway right now for higher need kids, and they need volunteers for that to make sure that kids get to school.
Yeah, so you can dig into the report if you're interested, or just find more about that, again, on our website. That's pittsburgh.citycast.fm. City Cast Pittsburgh is brought to you today by Kesem. An estimated 5 million children are coping right now with a parent's cancer diagnosis. Being a kid is hard enough without extra anxiety or feelings of isolation or hopelessness that can come from really heavy stuff and just trying to process their caregiver's medical treatment. That's why Kesem is trying to support these kids with fun, creative, free programs and a summer camp that help uplift them no matter what comes next. And Kesem needs you to help them make the magic. Make the Magic is Kesem's annual fundraising gala where they bring local folks together for an evening of storytelling and performance, and most importantly, the chance to make a real difference for Pittsburgh kids. There are 2 opportunities for Make the Magic coming up. Kesem at the University of Pittsburgh is celebrating March 21st at Pitt's University Club, and Kesem at Carnegie Mellon University is throwing their gala the very next day, March 22nd, at the Convention Center downtown. Pick your team, Pitt or CMU, or hey, go to both. Get your tickets now at donate.kesem.org/PittsburghMTM25 or donate.kesem.org/CMUMTM25. Again, that's Kesem, Kesem, and be part of something truly magical. Make the magic, change a life.
This episode is brought to you by Peacock. The new Peacock original documentary, Matthew Perry, A Hollywood Tragedy, dives deep into the beloved actor's rise to fame and his tragic death. 5 people, including Perry's personal assistant, 2 medical doctors, and an alleged Hollywood drug dealer known as the Ketamine Queen, were charged with conspiracy to illegally provide Perry with the ketamine. Explore the details of the case in this heartbreaking special, streaming now only on Peacock.
Sophia, finish us up. What organizations are you highlighting this time?
So I want to talk a little bit about the community center. Just a note, if you're Googling this, looking this up on Instagram, community is QMNTY. So this is run by Trans United and Proud Haven, 2 other queer-focused organizations in Pittsburgh. But I just wanted to highlight them because the community center opened up a new free thrift store. So that's called the Community Closet. That's up in the north side, and they kicked off the grand opening at the end of February.
Yeah, that's on East Ohio Street in East Allegheny.
Yeah, so the closet is separate from the community center. It's a few doors down, but they're both on the same street. The closet provides gender-affirming clothes, work attire, hygiene products, food, and essential goods. And this kind of stuff operated out of the community center originally, but the project got so big that it needed more space. So really happy that people are using this resource and that, it's expanding like this.
That's awesome. I love that they got more space. They really deserve that. So if you want to check it out, their hours are 12 to 8, Monday through Friday.
Have either of you been to the community center or even made it out to the closet yet? I've been meaning to stop by the closet, but haven't had time in the past week or so.
Not the closet. I went to the space back when I think it was just Proudhaven operating independently. So, that was, it seems like lifetimes ago, but it was really just a couple of years. It was like such a warm and cozy space. Although even at the time, they had so much stuff. They were doing such an amazing job of collecting and making it a welcoming space, but also being able to provide for folks once they left the space that you could tell even then, they needed more. So this is such a great update for them. But yeah, just in awe of how cool it was and also how well organized, because the upper floor were bunks for people to stay for short periods.
Right.
But then they had craft space and TVs and video games and, also a food pantry. It was so much in one spot.
I haven't been. I heard all the good things from Megan, but I want to check out the closet soon. I am really glad to have another space that I really care about to take clothing to, and just to help my community.
Francesca's got good style too. That's a win for everybody.
Thanks. And the other cool thing about this spot is that on the weekends, you can actually rent out the space for events. It holds up to 120 people. I was really surprised how big that was. So that's awesome.
Yeah. I guess now the community center can host events because they cleared out all that space and put it in the closet.
Right?
Yeah. And then it's also worth checking out Proudhaven and Trans Uniting's website separately from the community center's website. Both of these organizations just do so much work to provide all kinds of support for trans and queer people. Both orgs work together to provide housing. Megan, I think maybe this is what you were talking about. They have short-term emergency dorms for 1 week to 1 month stays. But then they also have a Your Home program. So that's a little bit more long-term, 12 to 14 months. And then they also just teach you important life skills for living alone if that's something that's new for you.
Yeah, when I talked to the executive director for Proudhaven then, they were talking about everything from setting up a bank account, for example, or knowing how to purchase food at a grocery store so that it's sustaining for yourself without relying on fast food and things, just because those little costs can add up, and sometimes you haven't had a supportive home environment that taught you those basic skills, which I'm so glad that they are stepping up and doing this if a family didn't.
So important.
So if you want to volunteer, you can check out any of their websites. They have forms to fill out where you can share a little bit more about how you want to get involved. There are a ton of opportunities. I went through Trans Uniting's volunteer form. It includes everything from grant writing to organizing the community closet, outreach, and more. You can also give them a monetary donation. There's also an Amazon wish list, so you can buy from that wish list, and those items go to the community center.
Yeah, and also make sure to follow their social media pages for fun events. I'm always including them in the Hey Pittsburgh newsletter in our events calendar, but they have a lot of cool things like game nights, volunteer days, craft nights, and that all takes place at the community center.
Yeah, and if there's any more organizations you want to send us or any cool events, you can always reach out.
Definitely.
Thank you to the friends of the pod who have been sending us organizations. You can reach us at pittsburgh@citycast.fm.
That's all for today here on City Cast Pittsburgh. One more fun volunteer opportunity this month. The Three Rivers Waterkeeper Group is looking for folks to take water samples at local tributaries on March 8th to measure chloride levels. Afterwards, they say they will treat you to a free drink at Jackworth Ginger Beer. That's the brewery over in Larimer that we love. Definitely check them out. We will be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Talk to you soon.
And just a note about spelling, community is Kmnty.
Is it K? Is it K, Sophia?
Oh my God, I said K, not
The most important letter of them all. It's okay.
Q and K kind of start the same way.
It's all the same.
Okay, Monday morning. This will get better.